Inclusive leaders lead like allies. The skill we'll talk about today to lead like an ally is about self awareness. This means knowing yourself, where you're going to be strong, where you're going to be weak, what are your opportunities, and what are the things that are going to be threats as hard as you try. This is also called in the business world a SWOT analysis. And we've been using this tool in business for decades. I remember learning it in my business school days at Ohio State. I've continued to learn this in any strategic planning initiative. It's a great pre-work exercise to get people involved. What I've also learned is allies have their own SWOTs of their own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. They know where they're strong. Right? They may have taken a StrengthsFinder assessment, for example, a DISC assessment, a Myers-Briggs assessment. There's so many assessments out there, but they've got pulse points on where they show up strong. They know that these are the things that I'm going to be the best at focusing my time on, and where I'm going to be the weakest is in the other quadrant. In my work with women, we tend to start there. These are my weaknesses, confidence, details for me, or just areas where, think about it, as hard as I try, I'm never going to be awesome. How do I limit my exposure to those areas? So I often, when I lead this exercise with leaders and allies, I say, I want 10 strengths. I want no more than 3 weaknesses. And I want you to start with the strengths first and go to the weaknesses later. Especially in my work with women, we tend to go right to the weaknesses because we've been socialized to think about things we can fix. Now, the cool part about SWOT is those strengths convert into opportunities. Those weaknesses then convert into threats. And the idea here is that we build strategies around our strengths. How can we leverage our strengths more often? So what strategies could I use to employ my strengths? Maybe it's asking to be on a certain type of project. Maybe it's thinking about your next role in the organization and aligning it with your strengths. Maybe it's professional development opportunities. On the flip side, our weaknesses. How do I protect myself from having to do this stuff more than 20% of the time? I get we have our jobs, that we have to do what our managers want us to do. We have jobs to do. We can't always choose what we want to do. When you get out of whack, though, and you're doing more of your time on your weaknesses than your strengths, your energy will fade. So how do you protect yourself from that? For me, delegation, meditation, really getting in the zone when I have detail-oriented tasks, which is one of my weaknesses. Conversely, strengths. These are things I want to spend more of my time on. Writing, marketing, delivering, selling. These are the things that excite me and give me energy and that I'm truly, truly best utilized at doing. So think about your own personal SWOT. Think about your strengths. Think about your weaknesses. Think about your opportunities from your strengths perspective, and think about your threats from your weaknesses perspective. I invite you to join our Lead Like an Ally program. It's an inclusive leadership program, a 52-week virtual training program where we meet leaders where they're at and create experiences for you to lean in and lead like an ally. 2020, we believe, is the year of an ally. That's why we're doing our pilot this fall and a launch in January of 2020, because hindsight is 2020. We need to be inclusive in the future. So we hope you'll join us. You'll get all the information at nextpivotpoint.com.